We are live.
Woohoo! It's always like, when is it gonna be live? Here we are.
It's always a nice surprise. Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome back.
Welcome back to both of us as well. We are here to answer some burning dating questions and some hot dating topics. Before we do, I actually had a conversation with someone who was asking me, how often should you be going on dates? Like,
Hmm.
she's like, I'm at in a good groove where I'm doing the apps and meeting people in person, but how many dates is too many and
Mm.
how many is like not enough? What's like the number I should be hitting?
I mean, I don't think there's a number. I wish that it was as easy as that, but I do think that she brings up a really good point that you want to be to the point that you're not starved. That like if you go on like one date, you're like, "Oh my
Yeah.
god, this must work because I'm never on a date." But you also don't want to get to the point that it becomes your entire life and you're now burnt out from just going on date after date after date and not actually doing anything else. So my take would be 1 to 2 a week. And I think the 1 to 2 could be an actual date or someone that's in the pipeline if you don't have one, planned. So,
Mhm.
for instance, I mean, this might sound too rigid for some people, but it helped me to have 2 days. Wednesday and Sunday. Those were my
Mhm.
2, like, main days, and Wednesday was reserved for the date, and then Sunday was more to get new people in the pipeline. So that was like starting the date. I didn't love doing
Mm,
dates on Sundays though. So maybe I backtrack a little that I would do if I had 2 dates lined up that week, it would be like Wednesday, Friday or something, like, if I was to do
right.
it again. But maybe
Right.
even 1 a week is enough. Now that I'm saying this out loud, I feel like that would kinda be exhausting to do, like, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Wednesday, Thursday. And then even, like, I liked personally reserving weekends for more, like, existing connection.
Yeah. I think yes, I'm exhausted thinking about 8 dates. 8 dates a month if you're really doing 2 dates a week. And when I was dating, I guess more consistently, when she asked me this, I was like trying to count how many dates I was
Yeah.
really going on. I think I was doing like 2 dates a month of
Okay.
new dates and maybe like 1 date a week of an existing connection
Mm.
at most. Yeah, at most. And I think even that I was only able to do like for 3 months,
I
you know?
guess if you have an existing person, it's easier to slot that on the weekend, I found. Like, I would be
Mm,
more excited to go out with someone that I knew that was already a vibe. So, I felt like I didn't like doing first dates on, like, the weekend because if it didn't go well, then it was kind of like a downer. Like, I'd prefer to do that on a day that I wasn't really doing anything anyways. Like, there was no
right.
opportunity cost.
Right, yeah. Like Wednesdays are perfect for that.
Wednesday is the best day because it's
Yeah.
or Thursday. I think Wednesday or Thursday are ideal because it's socially acceptable to be out and about, and you're not using prime time.
Yeah, exactly. And it breaks up the week, something for you to look forward to.
Yeah. Okay,
So that's
so
our answer.
1 to 2, but I think also, like, if you don't have the one, that's also okay. That's why I liked having Wednesday as, like, that night that even if I didn't have someone to go on a date with, maybe there was a follow-up on a app that I could do, like a phone call or a video call or
Yeah,
something that was, like or go to an event or something that was, like, dating adjacent, even if it wasn't an actual date.
right. Some sort of connection, fostering
Yeah,
some new or existing connection. Yep, and I guess it's all dependent on you. I think
it
some
is.
people, like, love doing 5 dates a week, and I don't know how you do that, but then some people, like me, I just get so burnt out from those social interactions. I think 2 a month was perfect for me, but yes,
I
it's
would
really, like
argue even the most extroverted person, I think 5 is pushing
5 is
it
a lot. 5 is
because
a lot, yeah.
'Cause I feel like it's one of those things that, one, you start to see things happen in patterns, you start to, like,
Mhm.
feel, like, bad about things. So, like, if all of a sudden the 5 people you're talking to fall off the face of the universe, you're like, it's detrimental. Where if it was, like, one person, it wouldn't be that big a deal.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
And you're
Don't
not
overdo it.
present. That's a lot.
I
How do you keep
know.
those people straight? How do you remember their info?
I know. Just like how we complain about messaging on apps that go nowhere, there's also a thing as like going on too many dates
Oh,
that go nowhere.
totally.
It's equally as exhausting, but it's all related to what we want to talk about today.
It is. And we got a really great review. So first want to say thank you and also a call out if you haven't left us a rating and review, you can do so in a few different places. You can go to Apple Podcasts and you can actually write something, which is what our listener today did. She wrote her brunch talk question in the review, which is always the best way to go right to the top of our
Smart.
queue. Or if you're on Spotify, you can just leave a rating. They do not have a place to put reviews, although you can comment on specific episodes. And we do take a look at those comments. So if you have like a question that's adjacent to an episode, feel free to leave it there or just comment in general. We love the conversation. And if you're on YouTube, there's not like a review place, but definitely come and subscribe and join us here. And of course, like feel free to leave questions in the comments of past videos.
You all are so shy on YouTube. I thought you were all really confident in your messaging and your questions. We haven't gotten any questions on YouTube. This is the place. Like, you would stand out because nobody's asking us questions
Who's
in the
gonna pop
comments.
our cherry? YouTube cherry. Remember when we used to get a bunch of comments that were like in Chinese
Oh,
on
yeah,
YouTube?
from bots.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So at
where are
least we
you
don't
all
get
at?
that. We don't
Even
get that
bots.
anymore. No, it's better. It's better
Why
than at least our
why are
only
we not getting
messages are not
bots?
bots.
My goodness. But yes, what we want to talk about today is, let's say you are really messaging someone a lot on an app, but you haven't met in person. How can you get someone to ask you out?
Like, force them into it?
Yeah, force them into it. But I think what this listener was saying is, although it's 2025 and this is a woman asking this question, she didn't want to be the first one to do
Mm,
the asking out, but she felt like they were vibing and it's just back and forth messaging. But how do you get them to actually do the
mm.
ask?
They were striking out on the apps. But I guess how
Yeah,
do you strike out if you're not asking out?
right. Yeah. Um, you don't strike out. You have to try it before you strike out. And then it feels good. I get it. It feels good to be pursued,
Yeah.
but it also feels good to take things into your own hands, to have control over it. But I guess if you're at that point where it's like, "Oh, I just don't want to make that first move."
Yeah.
What do you do?
I mean, I would love to see this person's convos. I think that would give us so much intel into what's happening. But I know I found personally, and with people that we've helped through Dateable, that you don't need to necessarily be the one asking, but just giving permission in today's
Mhm.
world. Sometimes it seems so obvious, especially in like hetero dynamics, that it's like, oh, of course, like men will be the pursuers. That actually isn't an of course anymore. So I
Yeah.
think giving permission, and it could be saying things like, let's like, I'd love to like bring this to text. I used to always just blame the app. I'm like, it's so much easier to text. Like, would you be down to do that? Or this story is like so good that I want to tell you, but I think it'd be better to like tell you in person. Like
Mhm.
things that kind of allude to like, I want to take the next step with you, whether that's actually saying like, let's move to text or let's move to a phone call or let's talk about this in person. I think that's very different than like explicitly being like, do you want to go on a date with me? But it still moves things along.
A lot of people treat the asking out as, like, the elephant in the room. They'll
Yeah.
say their messaging will be about everything but
Right.
meeting up in person, so you just have to keep at it with that topic. Don't treat it like the elephant in the room, actually acknowledge it. Oh, it'd be such a funny story, like you're saying, it'd be such a funny story when I see you in person, or, "I'm really looking forward to seeing that hat you've been talking about,"
Right.
something that just keeps pushing to that direction, and if they're still not asking you out, then you kind of know that some people wanna just stay in the messaging zone, and then you can stop wasting your time because it doesn't sound like they wanna get off the apps.
I know this person really said they don't wanna be the person asking out, but I'm just gonna challenge for 1 second.
Yeah.
Apps are just inherently awkward. They are. And I don't actually think they are like indicative of like the whole relationship or setting things up. I think even if you're the one to suggest meeting up, if you're like, hey, it's been cool talking to you, I'd love to meet up sometime, that doesn't mean that like you're going to be the one asking and pursuing for the rest of this relationship. But it does mean that it has a chance of getting off the ground. And one person needs to do it. I think if we're so in this mode of like, I can't say anything and I can't do anything, and I'm going to be like the one that's not the pursuer for the rest of this relationship, I think that's short sighted and more playing into like dating dynamics than like building a relationship with someone.
There's also just such different definitions of what being pursued
Yeah.
means, what that courtship is. My current partner will tell you he pursued me for 6 years, but I did not feel that. I had no freaking clue. Like, "What?
You're
That's
like, you
your
did?
definition? You through
Yeah.
LinkedIn, that was your idea of
Oh my
pursuing me?"
God.
But I think even on these apps, some people may feel like they are pursuing you, but because they haven't asked you out, you don't see that, you don't interpret that. So sometimes it's just better to meet someone in person and kinda tell them
Yeah.
what is the dynamic that you prefer. I love, being with someone who can plan dates. Not all the dates, but, like, some of the dates. That's kind of you saying, "I like to be pursued," without being
Yeah.
like, "I want you to pursue me," because nobody really knows what that means.
I feel like by the end, I just didn't want to be on the app and I just valued my time more than anything
Sure.
than thinking about like, am I playing it cool and being coy enough? And I just remember like telling my husband now, it's like, here's my number, like if you want to like talk further.
Yeah.
Because I just like didn't want to do that. I actually said this line and I honestly didn't even like think anything of it. Like I was like, "Oh, I'm going to actually go take a bath. Here's my like like phone
Oh.
number." And he was like, "Oh." And I'm like,
Whoa.
and to me, I'm like, this is actually pretty funny because my old bathtub was not glamorous at all. It was like questionable if I should be even taking baths in there. But I like it was because I just wasn't thinking. I was just like, I don't care. Like I'm just gonna like say it how it is.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like I wasn't like scheming up this perfect line to tell him or
Right.
anything. It was just that was happening. And I didn't want to like have this go to like limbo where I never saw the person again.
And I think that's why your kind of strategy of doing dating apps on Sunday nights is perfect for something like this. You can really link up and feel the vibe with someone on the app. And then you can just text, "Hey, I only check this on
Yeah.
Sundays. If you want to meet up this week or before the next Sunday, here's my number." Right.
Yeah.
But just so you know, I'm not checking this app for another week.
Right. And how cool does that sound? Like I
Yeah.
have better things to do in my
Yeah.
life.
Yeah, I don't touch this thing for 7
Yeah.
days, so if you really wanna meet up and see where this goes, like, yeah, this is your chance.
Or just be the one to exit the convo, because I think
Mhm.
the number one way to never go on a date with dating apps is to stay in, like, the app messaging hole forever,
Uh-huh. Yeah,
and I feel like I hear in this person's like, what they wrote in, that they just feel like there's something wrong with me, like, "Why am I having all these issues?" It's not just you. Everyone is getting stuck in this. I say that, like, hopefully in an endearing way that, like, makes you feel better, that there's nothing wrong with you. It's the way apps are built, but it just like, the connection dies off, and then neither party feels like they have an in to ask them out anymore. So
yeah.
why not make the initial convo pretty short? Like, exchange enough info that you feel comfortable moving it along. Get a Google Voice number if you're not comfortable with text messaging and giving out your real number, because I think even that progression makes it feel like something's happening. It doesn't
Right.
make like feel like you're getting stuck in this black hole of no progress.
My 55-year-old neighbor who just started dating 2 years
Love
ago
him.
after a long marriage and divorce, he was, like, so excited when he first got on the apps because he was having all these conversations with all these different women. And then soon enough, a lot of them became what we call the messaging graveyard.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, here's another graveyard of messages, RIP to Stella," right? He would
Right.
show me pages and pages and pages of messaging that seemed really promising that went nowhere. So, it shows you everyone's experiencing this, but at some point you got to say this is a dead conversation. I'm burying this conversation because it's really moving nowhere, or I need to keep this conversation alive by actually taking it to the next stage. Otherwise, if your goal is to have a long graveyard of messages, sure, yeah,
Right.
you've accomplished your goal, but nobody really wants that.
The thing is, I know your neighbor. He's very charismatic and
Yes.
talkative, and I bet the women he was talking to were also. And if you look
Yes.
at the conversations, it's usually not because like someone just like was dead air and didn't know what to say next. Again, it goes back to the medium of dating apps. Like this is a flaw with dating apps. It's not because of like the people. It's
Mhm.
just this digital communication, and eventually it hits a dead end, and then it just gets awkward if too much time progresses. So
Yes.
don't have that time linger on. Like I really think like from all the times that I use dating apps, and I actually heard from a lot of men on dating apps that they felt like with me things moved and they didn't
Mhm.
feel that with other people. I never kept things going more than a couple days on an app.
Yeah.
Ideally, even that Sunday, you get it if for someone that you're vibing with, move it to text message.
Yes.
Anytime it's stayed on that app for more than, like, 2 to 3 days, it's a graveyard.
It's a graveyard. Yeah, kill that thing. And to be fair, I read these messages that were in his graveyard, and he did ask them out,
He
and it
did,
went
okay.
silent after he did
Well,
the
then
ask
that's
out,
on them, yeah. But
which
okay, s
then makes him less willing to ask out on
well,
apps because he's
yes.
like, I keep getting this silent treatment after I do ask them out.
That's a really good point because I think there's a cycle that people will do the behavior that,
Yeah.
like, and feel like they don't wanna put themselves out again, so it might not be
Yes.
this person that feels like something's wrong with them. It might not be that, it might be their past experience with apps.
And I think some people are just sick of it, like, sick of being
Yeah, people are sick of
rejected,
it.
and
People
they
are sick
don't
of apps,
know
yeah.
what the move is. So if
Right,
you do give them permission, even drop hints or even just ask out, it takes the guesswork out. And I think for him, he was so disillusioned by this whole experience because it like his conversations had so much momentum,
yeah.
so much flirtation,
Yeah,
and then he would be like, I would love to meet you. How about Tuesday? And it just be crickets, be nothing. And like he would do a double text like, Wednesday? Nothing, just silent. So I get it. If you are experiencing that over and over again, maybe you don't wanna ask someone out again. So don't be that person.
so a couple things here too is we clearly don't know your text string, everyone that's listening, but also the person that listener that wrote in. I would first of all go back to some of your old messages and look at
Mm,
where things were. Were there actually
yes.
times that they were hinting or making moves and you weren't aware? Were there times where you actually may have been shutting it down unaware?
Yes.
I think all of that's important to know because it's so easy. We do a lot of calls with dateable listeners. You can go to our website if you want to talk to us. And we one thing that's like a constant that we really try to break through is the story of it always happens to me.
Right.
And it's so easy to go here. It's so easy to think that this is a pattern. I'm the only one that this is happening to, and it's always happening. Can you find proof it's not happening? because I think that's step 1 is to, like, get out
Mhm.
of this, like, loop of, like, it's always happening to me. The second piece is in your convos, are you just like a sitting duck waiting and waiting, or are you actually making some kind of signal or something that says, "It's okay to move this along. Let's move this along."
Yeah, sometimes we don't give those clear signals, maybe the opposite signals
Yeah.
without even realizing it. And I've also been in the situation many times on apps where I am having a conversation with someone, they do ask me out and I get scared or I'm not as excited about
Yeah.
meeting them in person. I think that's where you get your answer. So don't think of it as, "Oh, this is gonna be like, say a lot about who I am." No, you're getting
No.
answers, and I swear to you, a lot of people on these apps, they are scared to meet up in person. Wouldn't you rather find that out now than, like, going through days and days of texting back and forth with
Yeah.
them?
I actually think there's the reason you're not getting asked out on dates is not that there's something fundamentally wrong with you, because how does anyone even know that?
Right,
No
yeah.
one no one
No
knows
one
that.
knows. Yeah.
What it probably means is that you're not being proactive enough in any way of, like,
Mhm.
moving things along. And yeah, like, going back and looking at the convos and making sure that they don't linger for ideally, I would say try to get them off the app 24 hours max.
Yeah.
Like, have
Yes.
enough back and forth that the comfort is there because I think the progression, it really makes or breaks it.
And to pay it forward, if someone does ask you out, this is like I'm
Yeah.
begging everyone, if someone is asking you out on the apps and you're not ready, and or if you're not excited about it, say something. Say something along the lines of, "I'm not ready to meet up in person," or "I feel like can we message a few more times or
Yeah.
can we talk on the phone?" At least give someone that courtesy because
Right.
the more courtesy and respect we give each other, the better experiences we'll all have on these apps. And I swear, like most of you are probably guilty of some sort of bad behavior on dating apps.
I love that because I think so often we think we need to give an answer too. Like if someone
Yeah.
does propose meeting up, the answer could just be like, actually, it would make me feel better to like chat a little more first.
Yeah. I'm not ready yet.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. But I
No.
think that leaving someone cold, it's not going to want to make them do it for other people. And that is just a vicious cycle.
And you know what's the worst is when they resurrect. When the graveyard ghost comes back 3 months later, when your text had lingered at, "What are you doing Tuesday?" And they pop back up, and they're like, "Hey, how have you been?"
You know what though? I actually don't think it's that bad because again, this
You
is
don't?
all no, because this is all just the reality of an app and people being busy and not knowing who you are and not prioritizing you. Let's just call it what it is. You're not
Right.
prioritizing this person that you don't know, especially if no connection had been made. And it's hard to make connections on typing messages through an app. It's very
It is.
difficult. So that's why you got to move it along, but I did have one of those. I had a resurrection and it was me that initiated it. And I just went through Hinge at one point. This was like the last time I was dating. And I just messaged people again because I understood that things happen. Like people fall off,
Yeah.
including myself. And I did go on a date with someone after doing that.
Did
Instead of
you
like swiping,
acknowledge?
yeah, I acknowledged it. I was
Yes, okay,
like,
good. Yes.
yeah, and it would and I honestly didn't even pay attention, was it me or them that dropped? I just mass messaged everyone. So I was like, "Look, I can go up and swipe again and get new people, or I can go back to these people that just kinda fell through because nothing happened." Again, it wasn't
Yeah,
like some conversation that really went sideways, it just died in the graveyard.
yeah, yeah. Yes, acknowledge it though. I think that's the most kind thing to do is, yeah, this conversation kinda dropped off, but
Yeah.
she's kinda thinking about you. What
I don't even know
what's
if you
up?
need to say thinking about you because 'cause you're not thinking about them because you don't know them.
Who are you again?
I think you could just be like, "Hey, last time when I was using the apps, I honestly wasn't like that whatever reason, I just like wasn't
Right.
present enough
My
and
head wasn't
or
in
this
it, yeah.
slipped through the cracks, like something like just want to say like see what I don't know, like start the convo again.
Maybe that's a dare for everyone on the apps right now is one, go resurrect one of the old conversations from the graveyard, and another is like, ask someone out,
Yeah. What do
see
you
what
have to
happens.
lose?
What do you have to
What
lose?
do you have to lose?
An unmatch? Is that the worst thing that could happen? Someone just goes unmatched,
I
then you
mean,
go, "What's wrong with you?"
if
Right?
someone unmatches because you ask them out, it's like, okay.
Yeah, there's something they're probably a bot or not real for some reason, because that's just odd, and that's definitely happened to my friends,
Like
right?
guys or girls?
Both.
Yeah. I mean, look, it could happen. I don't think the first message back if you're resurrecting should be like, "Let's go out on Friday." Like maybe that's too much, but
Oh, yeah,
I think
no.
if you're in convo with someone and you move it to the next level to ask them on a date and they unmatch you, then it shows that they were never really there for this dating
No.
in the first place, or something about the interaction showed that you weren't the right match. Could argue that they could just tell you that, but
Yeah,
whatever, let's say they don't. Either way, it doesn't matter, it's just not your person.
right. Or they're actively trying to cheat on their spouse or
Right,
partner, and then they're like, "Oh, shoot."
right, this person wants to meet in real life?
"Oh, hell
Shit.
no. I
Well,
just wanted
that's
some attention."
it's a good point, you don't really know why people are on
You have
here
no
either,
idea.
so that's why we can't take it personally, like, we're flawed because people aren't asking us out.
Right. You have no idea. But you are in control. You're in control of your time, and that's the most valuable thing, especially on these apps. And maybe every time you get to this interaction where you're like, is this going somewhere? Like, are we going to meet each other in person? Just say, okay, I have 30 seconds to decide what I wanna
Yeah.
do. Like, give yourself a time box. I have 30 seconds to decide what I wanna do next. Okay, I'm gonna decide to ask them out, and then just do it. Like, save yourself the time, not even just them.
I know this sounds like a little grim in the whole disposable world of dating apps, but I actually don't think it needs to be if you look at it a little differently. So
Okay.
hear me out. You are not a real person to someone until you meet in person.
Yes.
That's a fact. Like, you could be someone that you're messaging, or maybe there's a little, like, intrigue if I looked you up on, like, LinkedIn or
Right.
follow something. But generally, especially in the very early stages of just, like, swiping on someone, it like, our brains, like, don't register that this is a human being, and that's, like,
Mhm.
where the demise of apps are, but also that this is where I'm saying to, like, use it to your benefit. So, anything you do in those conversations of perceiving you as asking them out or initiating. It's not really. It's just
Mm-mm.
moving it into the world where you can actually decide, do I want to go on a date with this person? I think of the first date when you meet on an app is really just that first meet. Like if you were in the wild, you would have met the person, you were just doing that on the app. At that point, then like the dynamics, because you're real, can actually come out.
Yes. And if we were to survey 100 couples who met on dating apps and said, how did you 2 get to meet each other in person? Who did the ask out? I would guarantee you 98% of the couples would not remember or nor would they
No.
care. No one's like recounting on their wedding day, Julie, were you, of being like, well, my partner asked me out first. So therefore, or I asked him out first. No, nobody's thinking in that way. It's more like, well, I'm grateful that we were able to meet up in person. That's the
Yeah.
moment that matters.
I'm trying to think, like, do we even have our first Hinge convo? My partner had our first text convo
Uh-huh.
saved, but I think our first Hinge convo is, like, in the ether somewhere. It's gone.
'Cause it doesn't matter,
Doesn't
right? Like,
matter.
who cares what you were
Doesn't
talking
matter.
you got to meet each other in person, and there was a connection. That's what matters. That's the only thing that matters.
And then you could argue, like, was it me that asked him out because I suggested moving to text, or was it him because he
Yeah.
actually suggested going on meeting in
Yeah.
person at a bar? Like, who cares? Like, we both it was a collaboration. It got us
Yes.
there. That's all that matters.
Who's keeping score? If you date someone who's like, oh, I win in this one because she asked me out, then that's not the person you wanna be dating. You don't wanna be, like, always indebted to someone who's keeping score on who's
No.
making a move. That's it's not a partner, that's a game.
I also think it's worth if you haven't bought our book, if you haven't bought the book, go get the book, How to Be Dateable. If you have read the book, it's worth going back to the validation trap section
Mhm.
because I think sometimes we think validation trap like I'm seeking all of this by going on all these dates or, vanity swipes or just getting all these people interested in me. And I hear some of that in here, but the part of validation trap I hear even more in this question is like I want to be pursued to show that this person likes me,
Yeah, to be chosen.
to be chosen and to not be the one doing the perceived effort. But I think there's many ways that that gets in the way of, a connection forming, and trust us, you will know if they like you. You will know if you're the only one doing all the work to keep a relationship going. That is not what we're saying. We're not saying to stick around for that, but we're just saying, get it off the ground. See what
Yes.
happens.
Yes. Yes, and multiple things can be true. You can both
Yeah.
initiate the ask out and still feel pursued at the same time.
Yes.
So maybe ask yourself this question: what if I could feel both? I'm in control and be the initiator and feel pursued at the same time. Let's see what happens. Just be open to that. Think especially as women, we've been taught you're one or
Yeah.
the other. You can only think in one way or the other, or like date like a man. That
Right.
whole thing. It's like, oh, date like a man. You just got to go out there and just pursue. What if you can hold everything, all of that to be true, be authentic and true to
Yeah.
yourself in the way you want to carry yourself in the world and still feel desirable and lovable and and pursued at the same time?
That's such a good point because I think when you get to the place that you're not keeping score of who's asking out, you're able to hold space for both of those.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome.
Good
Well,
combo.
thank you for writing in. Thank you again for the review. And yeah, definitely go check out our website too. We offer profile review services and coaching. So if we see people's exact convos or hear from the horse's mouth, I don't want to call our listeners horses, but you know what I mean. Like we hear
Beautiful
from,
horses,
we
majestic
hear
horses.
I think obviously we love answering these questions on brunch talk, but it's hard because we're missing some of the nuance of your specific instance. We can definitely break it down with you a bit more with that context.
For our viewers on YouTube, we're going to be off the air for a few weeks. Julie's going on her honeymoon. So, just so you know, but our content's still coming out every week. Just go to the audio format. You can find that here on YouTube. You can also Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of the other platforms. So we're not going away. It's just more the live streams.
Yep. Okay.
All
Well,
right.
we'll see you next or
See you in a
for
few weeks.
anyone on Brunch Talk, we'll see you next week. For YouTube Live, we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Bye.
Bye.